Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing. Today I'm creating in my Arteza watercolor sketchbook. This measures approximately 8 1/4 by 8 1/4, I believe. These are some of the supplies that I'll be using. I'm going to be creating my first Merry Christmas or holiday journal spread. So these are some of the supplies that I'll be using. This was originally a live video, so again, you're going to see a lot of talking with my hands. It did become quite long, more than an hour and a half, so I did need to cut it down. Be using that tissue paper from Tim Holtz, absolutely gorgeous. And then a couple of green, shades of green for my leaves, and then I'll be using Sean's poinsettia stencil, and then a variety of collage papers from petit.com. If you haven't checked those out, I would encourage you to go to petit.com and click on collage packs. They're amazing papers, and once you have them, and you can use them however you choose. It's really, really awesome. So I'll be applying all of my papers with my liquitex matte medium, and I do cut out a lot of this process because, again, the video was very long, and the collaging is pretty intuitive, while at the same time not super critical. So whatever your style is or whatever you're comfortable with, go ahead and do that. So I cut it out because it's really redundant, and I don't think that people need to see that process every single time. So I'm just going to be applying the papers randomly all over both of the pages on this spread. Oh, and I had also pre-gessoed the pages. I forgot to mention that. This is my second voiceover. My software I need to just remember to close down the program and open it back up before I try to do the voiceover, because every time, without fail, it doesn't record my voice, and it's super frustrating. This is my second go at it. So just finishing putting all those papers on. And then I do dry before I move on to the next step, which is going to be putting on the tissue paper. I just love the collage look of this. I love the patchwork look. I love how different things show up that I didn't expect. So here I'm going to put on the Tim Holtz tissue paper. I didn't end up using the sheet paper, which was that grayish paper that I showed you. It's the page printed on tissue paper, but I didn't end up using it. So just applying the tissue paper here in various places around the spread. I really loved the holly and the berries. I thought it was really pretty, and the birds were pretty sweet. I think that's a bird, yeah. I wasn't paying a lot of attention to what I was tearing. I just really wanted the elements, so. And then again, I did make sure that was nice and dry. And I'm going to come in with my small brayer and some gesso, and I'm going to push back the background with the gesso just really lightly. I didn't want to lose a lot of the color in terms of the leaves on the holly and the berries. I really wanted those to be bolder. So I do come in with my baby wipe here and there and pull that back so that I get a little bit more of that color vibrancy showing through. The other benefit to doing this is you create some really beautiful texture just by applying this thin layer of gesso. So you'll see that in the close-up photos as well. If you look really closely at the background elements, you'll be able to see that. So again, I did dry before I move on to the next step. So I'm going to come in with my super heavy gesso from Liquitex, and I'm going to be doing some stenciling with Sean Petit's Modern Pattern Mini 1. And this small brush just to kind of push that gesso through the stencil. I was debating there over which one I wanted to use. I did end up with the one there on the upper right. It didn't create a very distinct pattern, but I was really looking for interest more than the pattern itself. So it turned out okay, and I was happy with it. You can use any stencil you like. Of course, I love Sean stencils, so I will always recommend them. But use what you have. It's really important to not limit yourself in terms of the art that you do because you don't have a particular supply. Just use what you have and have fun. So now I'm coming in with my golden fluid acrylic in quinacridone nickel azo gold, one of my favorite colors, and my golden glazing medium. And I'm going to be doing a glaze over both of these pages. And it seems a really bold move because it's very bright and golden, but I really wanted this background to be really sunny and bright and light. I didn't want it to go dark. And as I was creating it, I was thinking about what that means to me, because for me, Christmas is hard. It's always been a historically hard holiday. It's getting a lot better over the years. But for me, this Christmas is about God sending his son Jesus to be born here on earth so that he could relate to us and so that we would know that we have a friend in him. And so that's my heart about my relationship with him and my faith in him. And that faith walk is that he is my friend. He is, I love him very much. I am so grateful for everything that he's done for me, the way that he's restored my life. And so I really wanted that light and that bright and that kind of magical part of this to come through in the spread. So I'm going to be using Sean Petit's poinsettia stencil here, as I mentioned. I'm not going to show all the stenciling because, again, it was very, very long. This video was over an hour and 45 minutes from start to finish because there was a lot of hand painting once I got the stenciling in. So I did cut out a lot of the repetitive steps. But I believe that you can get the gist of the process. And so I'm just kind of weaving that poinsettia stencil design around both of the pages. And here I didn't dry after that last one. I was drying in between each of these stencil flowers, but I did not here. And so I was holding that stencil up just so it wouldn't sit down onto the wet gesso beside it. So I'll be doing my stenciling for the leaves with my Deco Art Premium Americana Sap Green Hue paint and just a makeup sponge. And there I was just showing you that I do wash my sponges. I don't save them all, but when I do save them, I wash them and then they don't get hard and I can continue to use them. So that was what I was showing you there. So again, just going to stencil these leaves on with that sap green hue. And then I'll be coming in with obviously a heavier coat a little bit later and a lighter color to kind of complement it. I'm using the quinacridone nickel azo gold to paint the centers of my flowers. And just really doing this kind of messily. I didn't want to fuss about it. I just wanted to get to the end result and I wanted to have fun while doing it. And when I get fussy, I tend to lose a little bit of the joy in the process. So I really enjoyed this process because I didn't feel too concerned about the kind of the net result. So, and here I'm coming in with quinacridone red, and this is a golden acrylic, not a fluid acrylic. It is a heavier body paint. In retrospect, I kind of wished I had used a fluid acrylic because this painting took a long time because the paint was very thick and it kept getting kind of clogged up in my brush, and that was a little bit frustrating for me as I don't normally do this kind of painting on my art. So they're just skipping to the end to that last flower on the lower left-hand corner. Then I'll be coming in with a quinacridone crimson to add a darker bit of color to all of the petals. If I called them leaves before, I apologize. They are petals, not leaves. So, but it just creates a little bit of a variance in color. Again, I wasn't looking for super realism. I wasn't even really going for anything close to what a real poinsettia looks like, just kind of giving the suggestion of it. I think I'd like to do another project with the poinsettia stencil, and I might grab a reference photo just so that I can get a better idea of the character of the flower and how it's put together and what the centers look like and all of those things. But that'll be later on down the road. And again, this is the quinacridone crimson, beautiful, beautiful deep red color. And just adding that here and there on all of the petals. And then just again finishing up there in the lower left-hand corner. Now I'm going to come in with the Deco Art sap green hue and paint my leaves. And then I'll be coming in with a lighter color also on the leaves just to complement that, or to create some variation in color there. I use the green gold fluid acrylic. These are two of my favorite green tones. I love the sap green hue and the green gold. They work really well together. But again, use what you have. If a craft acrylic paint will work just fine. You don't have to have the high-end stuff. It really is not necessary. I'm just a little bit spoiled in what I like. I do use craft acrylics, but not as much as the other these other products that I'm showing you. So again, just moving all across both of the pages, just adding a little bit of that green gold. And then I came in, this is the quinacridone crimson again, and I'm just adding a little bit of red accent on the leaves. I've seen that done in watercolor painting of poinsettia bouquets and things like that, and it's really beautiful because they do have that in real life. The leaves do have kind of a red around the edges. I wasn't super fussy here with it. I just kind of applied it here and there, again, trying to not get too uptight about it. But I really love the addition to the leaves. So now I'm going to come in with my black archival ink from Ranger and my makeup brush and do my stenciling. And this is a new stencil I got from Tim Holtz. I don't have a lot of Christmas supplies. As you can imagine, if you don't really do Christmas crafts or holiday crafts, you wouldn't necessarily have those kinds of supplies. But I did pick up a few things just so I can, again, get my feet wet and play a little bit more with some seasonal art. So there, my paint was just a little bit wet and the stencil stuck to it. And so I'm going to do Christmas up at the top. I do try it down here at the bottom, but it didn't fit with that leaf. I'm grabbing a smaller makeup brush because I'm kind of on the edge there and I didn't want to get any of the other words in my stenciling there. And then I apologize, this next part is off screen, but I just am stenciling the Mary for the Christmas there on the side. And then I decided to come in with another Tim Holtz stencil. This is Splatters. I'll be sure to link all the supplies in my supply list over on my blog, so that you can, if you want to check them out, you have that resource and you have where I got them and what they're called and all that. But I really loved the effect that the splatters with the black archival ink had on this spread. I think it really needed it. It was a way to kind of bring out some darker contrast without making the page dark. So I'm definitely making a mental note of that because it was very effective and beautiful. And I tend to go dark when I try to add a contrasting color, and I'm really trying to break away from that. So I was really pleased with this stencil. I haven't used it a lot, but really liked it. And there's just a close-up of the flowers. And again, just really painterly look. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you'll check out the blog at B.Rebornart.com. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.